Sirius, the brightest star in the night sky, which on December 24th aligns with the 3 brightest stars in Orion's belt.
Did you hear that? He said on December 24th. He's talking about Sirius aligning with the 3 bright stars. This is on December 24th, Chris.
Well, if that's your point, you did miss my point, and you didn't even address what I said about this, which was that when Peter Joseph says on December 24th, those 3 stars in Orion's belt align with Sirius, that is totally misleading. Those 3 stars align with Sirius every day for the last million years. December 24th, October 12th, every single day, those 3 stars are aligned with Sirius. Now, to say that which he does, on December 24th, the 3 stars in Orion's belt align with Sirius, that is misleading. That's getting the kids to think that there's an event that is happening on December 24th, which there is not. There is no event whatsoever that is happening with Sirius or there are 3 stars in Orion's belt on December 24th. I want to hear you say that. Peter Joseph is absolutely lying to people to make it seem like an event.
These 3 bright stars in Orion's belt are called today what they were called in ancient times the 3 kings. And the 3 kings and the brightest star, Sirius, all point to the place of the sunrise on December 25th.
Did you catch that, Chris?
Like I said, even if Zeitgeist or Acharya or whoever said, oh, no, they're just misrepresenting us with those representations, they're just visual aids, even if they said that the real story was, as you're saying here, which I'd have to first say, Zeitgeist clearly showed the 3 stars pointing to the rising sun, and you can say, well, Chris, they were just trying to do a visual aid, and I would say, first of all, that's clearly deceptive. Why not just say it the way that they meant it? You then spend a lot of verbiage on the fact that I was pointing out that they're not exactly in a line. And I would say, well, if we're talking about a 30, 40 degree difference, and that's all the difference depending on the width of the sun and where it rises on the horizon, and you have any number of different options, I'd say it is relevant. But ultimately, I'll concede it, because as I pointed out, this whole thing is totally irrelevant. The macro point here, which I beg you to consider, and that after watching the end of that video, I saw that you really, really, really missed my point. So I'll try to say it really quickly here, and I'll just try to lay it out as flat as I can. Me and you are on the same team. We agree that in Babylon, I don't know if you know all this, but we essentially agree that this is an ancient ritual that was started in Babylon. It had to do with Semiramis and Nimrod and their son Tammuz, and this whole idea of December 25th, because of the solstice, even because of the sun being at its lowest point, it's the beginning of the solar year. So it's always been represented. And the other end of it has always been represented at October 31st, another pagan holiday. See, it all has its roots there. We agree with that. Now, there is an ancient solar group that has been worshiping that same kind of thing, Tammuz, for a long, long time. Now, keep in mind, the sun is only an English translation. If you want to say, there's the birth of the sun back there in Babylon, listen, the Babylonians didn't call that star in the sky the sun, which is a cognate with the English word for sun. Anyway, let me try to get to my point. You were saying that I was saying something about real Christians versus fake Christians or anything. I'm not. I'm pleading with you to understand. I'm talking about history, documented history. With Constantine and all that, you still have a huge chunk of change to deal with in regards to the origins of Christianity. You have hundreds and hundreds of years of provable Christianity that did no such thing as believe anything about December 25th being the birthday. They had none of the pagan rituals that we see today in the Catholic Church. My point in saying that the Catholic Church is not Christians is saying that they have apparently, whether they're Christians or not, they have apparently taken this ancient worship of Tammuz and forced it on a religion that they apparently couldn't control. That is assuming that they are Rome. And the reason I say that is that Rome as an organization had many gods and goddesses, like Semiramis, of which that's why the Catholics all of a sudden said that people should worship Mary, when, that's why they have to take the Bible away, because there's nowhere in the Bible that says you have to worship Mary or that there's these saints that you have to worship. This is, again, part of Roman religion. The saints are the many pantheon of gods that they had. Try to think of no difference between ancient Rome and the Catholic Church. Now, when they forced everybody to become Christians, after being like, okay, if you can't beat them, join them, let's just take this religion we can't control and just make it Roman. And so now we're essentially fighting a straw man, saying that, look, its origins are pagan, when you're fighting something that can't possibly be the origins of Christianity from an historical perspective. It just can't. And what's so weird is that when you say this to somebody, they just look at you with a blank stare. It's like, what do you mean it's not the origins of Christianity? It has to be. It's where the Catholic Church started. That's the origins of Christianity. No, that's what's been fed to us over and over and over again. This is the Achilles heel of all the mystery religion as we know it today in the Truth Movement. They can't let people know that there was 300 years before the Catholic Church, because the entire dogma that they're trying to sell has to do with everybody believing that the origins of Christianity are pagan, which historically they clearly are not. So again, this event can't have anything to do with the origins of Christianity, because December 25th has nothing to do with Jesus. Let me say that in the reverse way. December 25th and Christmas has nothing to do with Jesus at all. Therefore, this event on December 25th, literally, no matter how accurate it may even be as far as whatever, it can't have anything to do with it, because December 25th wasn't even in the picture for centuries and centuries after the origins of Christianity. Do you see what I'm saying? Historically, it can't be. Historically, we're just spinning our wheels with these videos. But again, I do think it's a point that I would like to address. How come, an arbitrary point is chosen on one point in the night sky? They must point to several places throughout the course of the night sky, if you're going to say it's pointing to the rising sun. But again, even if we still have the monster problems of there being no association with the wise men whatsoever, not to mention that the wise men were not at the birth. Now, if you're going to say the wise men followed it to the birth of the sun, then how come the wise men weren't at the birth of the sun? They were probably there when he was about 2 or 3 years old. So if you're going to say the stars are, that's where we get the stories from, but yet there are 3 kings, not 3 wise men, and they're not at the birth, and there's not 3 of them. So you would think that the story in the Bible would go something like this. 3 kings came to the birth of Jesus, and they 3 kings followed a star to the birth of Jesus. That's what we think we would see in the Bible if the theory holds water, if this is where we got the stories in the Bible. But yet, it doesn't say 3 kings. They weren't at the birth, and there's not 3 of them. So the 3 entire points that are supposed to be suggested here are nowhere